Hey there. Welcome to the Flute 360 podcast. I'm Dr. Heidi K. Begay, and I'm a flutist, educator, coach, and podcaster. My God-given mission is to serve you. I am passionate about guiding you, the modern-day flutist, to discover your unique voice on and off the stage. The goal of this podcast is to help you thrive, both as an artist and as a musicpreneur. Go ahead and grab your coffee, your notepad, and let's get to it. Today's episode 314 is titled Tyree Wilson on Lifting Up the Next Generation, Strength in Community. Have you ever felt unsure about your next step as a flutist? Whether you're in a gap year, starting over, or just stuck, you're not alone. Many of us have felt overwhelmed or disconnected. But here's what others have found. Flute 360's Accelerator program gives you the support, resources, and guidance you need to thrive. Our next session is Saturday, December 28th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. It's your chance to connect, learn new tricks, and tackle those flute goals you've been putting off. Don't wait. Click the link in the show notes below to join us. How are you?
I'm doing good. The semester's over and I feel like a burden is like off of me now. So
yeah,
I feel great.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that burden being off your shoulders, because a lot of collegiate students are in that same place right now. What does it feel like? Because you've accomplished a lot.
Yeah, I've done a lot this semester. I was also like battling like almost 20 credit hours, as well as like doing like flute competitions and like keeping up with my practice, trying to stay disciplined. It was just a lot of work, and I learned how to really like keep my time sufficient this semester, really make sure I stay on task. But yeah, I'm just so glad the semester is over. So like now I can like decompress all of that went through this semester, and I know what to now prepare for next semester. So yeah.
I love that. So How were you this semester being very intentional with time strategies, organization of time, energy? Can you like elaborate a little bit more on that proficiency?
Yeah, well, I just really like tried to center around like just setting aside some time, like really like having that time structure and making sure I like stick to that. So like nothing like I don't get behind on my like exams, like all my, homework and stuff. Like I really want to stay strict on time.
Okay, nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
So you said decompress. What does Tyree Wilson do to decompress after a very successful semester?
I like really staying like to myself and like, like having some type of, I don't know, of like us flute players, we have like these meditation states that we like go into like to really like decompress all of what we've gone through. I like to go and like go hiking, go walking, and like really being in nature. I like to read. I like to read as well. So, my main thing is like, I really just love going on walks, seeing nature, connecting all around me. So, yeah.
Yeah. Very grounding.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot, but I'm just so curious. Do you have a specific meditation practice that you would like to share, or one that's one of your faves?
I don't really have a specific meditation practice. I just like to get in the groove of, just turning on some background and really like, centering myself. Like, I'm here in this state. How can I like get everything, like my thought process, like everything out of my mind, and just really like, sit there and just decompress. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I like being out in nature too. Just seeing the greenery and just seeing, perhaps a creek if it's there, or wildlife, squirrels, birds. It's all good. It just kind of helps to get away from screens.
Yeah. Definitely like walking and hiking is my main thing. Yeah.
So funny enough, you're not alone. A lot of 360ers, guests and listeners, are huge avid hikers. They will text me. They'll text me and they're like, I'm listening to a 360 episode on a hike. I'm like, I've heard that 10 times this week. How cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just being in nature for me is just like so calming. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're meant to, right? I mean,
Yeah.
holistically, we're designed to be hunters and go outside and gather and hunt and nest and, think of what our ancestors did.
Definitely.
Yeah. Do you know the app called All Trails?
I don't think I do.
It's a really neat app. I think I'm saying the name appropriately, but I think it's All Trails, and you can go in and tell them your specific geographical location, and it will show you on the map where all these different hiking trails are. But not just that, but it will also show you the difficulty of the trail. So they will grade it from like 0 to 5 and say 0 is flat, and then 1 is some rolling hills, and then it continues in that way.
Okay,
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So like you and all the other listeners can check out All Trails and see if it's, your dig. But yeah, I'm so excited so you are wrapping up your junior or your senior year?
Well, this is the first semester of my junior year.
Okay.
So next semester is my last semester of junior year, and then I'll be heading into senior year.
Yay!
And hopefully getting ready for those grad auditions if I don't take a 5th year. So yeah.
Okay. So before I get too ahead of myself, I think that this is an appropriate time then for you to introduce yourself. See, Tyree and we're just like going right into it.
Oh yeah.
But I want people to know like who you are and what you've accomplished so far and a little bit of your backstory so that way they can be brought up to speed.
Yeah. So hello, my name is Tyree Wilson. I am 20 years old and I am a junior music performance major. I started the flute, oh my gosh, actually 10 years ago. This August, it was 10 years, and I started in 6th grade. And it's been a ride. I've always been really, at the start, I've always been really dedicated for some reason. Just like when I picked up the flute, it was just, this was meant to be. And ever since, I've just always just loved playing the flute. Like you can ask my mom, she's like, you take that thing everywhere. Like grocery shopping, family, like gatherings. I took it everywhere. And I am so glad that, I didn't have like those type of parents like made me do music, because I think that would make me not want to do music in a sense, but they allowed me to choose my own path. And I think because of that, it made me be more successful and more determined in my craft. So over time, I gained some popularity on social media just by posting and sharing my journey with others on social media. And in that way, it's brought me like this to you, talking about social media. And I think this is such a cool thing to do because, I mean, social media is a great tool if you use it right. I am just so honored to be here. And I just thank you for allowing me to share my story and share my journey with people that are listening on here. And so I'm just glad to be here.
Oh my goodness, you are way too kind. And
no, I'm serious. I'm honored. I'm talking about social media. Like, who am I?
We all feel that way in some capacity in whatever, area it is. So you're not alone. But no, thank you. And I thank you for your time. And I thank you for you sharing your expertise and your journey thus far, because I know a lot of your maybe pain points or roadblocks that you faced at some point will resonate with the younger audience. It's been a hot second since I've been in college. So actually, it's funny. I can't make this up. Eric and I were on a walk last night, my husband, and we were walking and something came up in our discussion about family or something. And I said, we started college 21 years ago. And we were like, what? Because we are college sweethearts. We met in college. Yeah. And we've been married now for 17 years. So I say that because time goes by so fast.
It goes by so fast.
So fast.
So fast. Like I am literally about to graduate in a year. And I'm like, I literally just started college 2 or 3 years ago. Like, what is happening? Yeah. So yeah. Time goes by so fast.
Yeah. And it's a full circle moment for me. So to give the listeners a little bit of context, I'm going to embarrass Tyree just a little bit. No. Just a little bit. I'm going to make you blush. But I have adopted myself as his bigger, older flute sister because we share Dr. Diane Boyd Schultz as my former teacher and as Tyree's current teacher. And so it's like this full circle moment for me because Dr. Boyd was the reason why I wanted to get a DNA in flute. And here I am talking to one of her current students who's just crushing it. And it's like a pinch me moment. And not just any one of her students, but a student who, I don't know if you know this, Tyree, but when we met in Phoenix at the NFA a few summers ago, you came up to the booth at Carolyn Nussbaum's and you came up, you shook my hand and you said, "It's so nice to meet you, ma'am. And I love your work. And thank you so much for your contribution." And I was like blown away by just how you are such a gentleman, how you're so professional. And you kept saying ma'am over and over. I was like, please don't call me ma'am. So, no, but it's very sweet.
No, you're fine. So I don't know what it is, but like, it's just like that kind of Southern hospitality.
Yeah.
And I have always been raised, it's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. You're going to get your like mouth popped. But I don't know, like when I go to these, like when I've been to NFA since 2022. So hopefully I can go to 2025. But I don't know, it's like when I meet people and I say like, yes, ma'am, no, sir, they're like, excuse me, don't do that. I'm like, I'm just trying to be respectful, but
no, I mean that in all the best ways. But what I saw and what I felt from you is, because I'm a pretty good judge of character, is that when I met you in air quote real life, I was blown away just by your demeanor and just how what you see in Tyree from the social world is really what you get in the real world. And you don't always experience that from influencers. So thank you for always being authentic in your true self and everything that you do. I really respect that.
That's one of the things that I really try to do on social media is really, I don't like being fake. I don't like, having two different personalities. I like, on social media, I really want people to understand that we're all in this together. And I like showing who I am on, real life and social media, because I really, like you said, I want to be authentic and I want to show my authenticity because I feel like that's really important. You can play the flute well, but if you don't have good character, I mean, that's not, I just don't feel like that's right. So yeah, I really just like having that sense of community on social media and really just showing people like, hey, we're all in this together. There's no point in like trying to say we're better than anyone, like all that stuff, like we're all in this together. So I just like showing that, my true self on both sides.
That's a fantastic mindset.
Yeah,
yes. Keep it up. I love it. And, by being authentic, you're going to attract the right people and people that resonate with you and people where you're like, oh my gosh, you're my tribe. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a good thing because we are always trying to find some good friends in the flute community. And we all have one thing in common, and that's flute and like, making music. And I feel like that's such, like you said, that's really such a good trait to have. And it goes a long way to be kind to someone because they're going to remember you of how you treated them. And I've always gone by that because people are going to cling more to someone who's treated them nicely. And I'm always like an advocate for just being a good person because it goes a long way,
No, I love that.
Yeah.
So bring us up to speed. What inspired you to start posting through Instagram, TikTok, etc.? Like, was it the pandemic? Was it your collegiate years and what you were learning? Let us know.
Yeah. So, okay, it's kind of funny, but not really funny. I was in 10th grade in 2020. This was like the spring going into my 11th grade year of 2020. And we got out because of, COVID-19. I remember this day like crazy. It was March 13th, 2020. It was a Friday, actually. I don't know why I remember this. But yeah, we got on the intercom at the school. They're like, okay, we're getting out of school. COVID-19 is getting very rapid. It's getting, people are, dying from this. So we need to take precaution. And I just thought of this because I really did not practice in high school. Like I didn't have like a mindset of what I should be practicing. I was just always playing things because it sounded good. And I saw this opportunity because also my friends in my friend group were also making their own flute accounts. And I thought, why not can I not do this? So I just started posting like, my practice, playing shamanade or, or, something like that. And it kind of turned into people wanting me to do like, cover songs, and it made people look at my account. So I started doing that for a year or so. And then it kind of started turning into my brand. And this is where it started like kicking off to like, okay, I need to take this seriously. Like people are actually watching me, so I need to be careful of what I post. Mm-hmm. And it kind of turned into like a sense of community, because then I started doing collaborations with other other flute players or other instrumental players. And it's just changed my life kind of because I've been traveling like nonstop because of social media. And I think this is a good tool for everyone to have. I am I'm always saying that people need to be on social media and just marketing themselves in some sort of way, because you never know who's watching. Like you never know who's watching. And this has done a huge thing in my career so far. Like, I'm still practicing as well, but like social media has taken me places that I never thought I would be. Like, I mean, now I can call myself an international flute player because of social media. So like, this has been a life changer. And like I said before, I'm talking to you now about social media. So yeah, it's been a ride. It's been a ride, and I'm still going for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So what I'm hearing you say is because of your platform, your digital platform, it has opened up digital and maybe even physical doors for your career.
Yeah. I was also going to say, like in the collaboration side of things, during this process, I think it's very important, like I said, of how we treat others. And during this process, I have gotten different performances where the person I collaborated with couldn't perform. So they messaged me or emailed me asking if I was available to do this. And in that way is of some kind of like kindness or generosity for how I treated that person. So they couldn't do the performance. So they called on me to go and perform because they remembered how I treated them during the collaborative process. So that's also another good thing about social media and meeting people, because you'll also travel that way and be in these chamber performances or orchestras or, getting out there or getting your name out there. And that was also another good thing about social media and the collaboration process is getting performances that some people cannot do,
No, I love that.
Yeah.
And you've probably heard of the saying before, and that's something along the lines of people don't necessarily remember what you say, but they will remember how you made them feel.
Yes, I know that. Yes. And that's definitely worked in my career. So yeah, I'm always mindful of how I treat people because it goes a long way.
Okay, so you be the teacher for a hot second and you school us on this topic of imposter syndrome, because you are speaking one of my number one soapboxes of all time. I tell my 360ers, get out there, build something, put your brand out there, put your name out there, because the very thing that you are describing, doors will be built, doors will open for you, is so true. And I think that as a coach and as a flute teacher, when I say this to my people, some people accept it wherever they are on their journey, and others, there's a little bit of pushback, and rightfully so. Maybe I'm asking them to step outside of their box and their comfort box, and they're like, ooh, I'm not ready for that just yet, Heidi. So what would you say to that person? Because you did it starting March 13th, 2020, and you're like, oh, I see the benefits. Did you have any resistance at first to do it? Or at first, was it just, oh, I'm doing something fun because my friends are doing it?
Yeah, I kind of did. So it's kind of weird because sometimes I can be an introvert and sometimes I can really be an extrovert. And during the time that I created my practice account, social media account, I was reluctant before I posted because I was always wondering about what people were going to think of my playing at this time. Now, keep in mind, I did not have the concept of sound or the discipline or really being picky on what I'm listening for with an open ear, how I did in high school. So I was always worried about what people are going to think. Are they going to like my playing? Are they going to make fun of me? But I will never forget this. I told my mom about this as well. But she sat me down and she said, son, I'm going to tell you this right now. People are going to talk about you until the day you die. And it struck me because I'm like, I'm over here worrying about what a stranger is thinking about my playing and not what I'm thinking about myself. Like all of these things are in my head and I'm not saying, oh, I can do this. I don't care what someone else is going to think about my playing. This is for me and my process to look back on and really see where I have come from. Mm-hmm. And I think when I did that and stopped worrying about what people think, I just went ahead and posted because I know imposter syndrome is like, it is a thing that some people cannot tackle. But once you get in that mindset of, I don't care what people think, if they don't like it, they don't like it. If they do, they do. Like, I'm just going to post it and really show people like how I'm doing in my process. I think that will make things into another light of kind of sort, because it is true, you know, people are going to talk about you if it's good or bad, but it's up to you how you handle that. And I think for me, I definitely have gotten, you know, some not nice comments on social media about my playing, but I never lashed out on the person. I never responded because I did not care. Like, I don't know you, you know? It's just, I try to either delete the comment, don't respond, or just keep posting, because as long as you keep posting, people are going to watch your process and they're going to be like, oh, he or she is the real deal. Like, they are showing us what it's like to be a music major, or what it's like to have that type of practice process, or show us how one practices or get better in that process.
I love that. Yeah. And thank you for being so honest and sharing that story between you and your mother.
Yeah, I feel that was a turning point for me because, my mom has always been there. My dad has always been there. Like, they've always been there to advocate for my music journey. And that does not happen a lot, because I know some people think that music does not bring money. Yes, it does. As long as you have that determined and will to do it, you can make money doing anything. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And you may not be everybody's cup of tea. And, you know, rightfully so. There's orange zest, there's lemon zest, there's Earl Grey. You know what I mean? So, and what I found being a content creator online is, I agree. You have control of how you interact with said person who may be perhaps leaving you some negative comments. I've received my negative comments through 360, and you are absolutely correct. You do not have the control over somebody's thoughts, actions, mindset. Like, you can't go inside their brain and change them, but you, rightfully so, have control over how you interact and how you respond to said person. And I loved how you laid that out. Beautifully said. And so what I have found through social media and through podcasting is that, like, of the 100%, it's going to be about 99%, but 33% of people will absolutely love what you're doing. 33% of people won't even really care. They won't even see it. And the other 33% of people won't like it. But that's okay. Focus on the 33%.
Yeah.
So have you found that to be true? Like, once you've realized the pie that I just outlined, and you're like, okay, some people are going to be haters, some people aren't going to even notice, and some people really dig my stuff. Have you then, once you come to that realization, did you find yourself at some point really leaning in on that 33% of people who care and resonate with your content?
Yeah, I have. And this has really like been not a struggle, but like I have always, like, when I am creating content and like some of it blows up, some of it does, like some of it gets like 2,000 likes, some of it gets like only 100 likes. As long as I'm still sharing the content and people are still being engaged, kind of sort, I still love it. But I mean, it does get to me sometimes when I'm creating content and I spend time on this content and it doesn't like get that engagement that I was hoping for. Sometimes it does like get to me like, okay, am I doing this right? Are people not liking it? But that goes back to what I was saying earlier about when I first created my account, I was always worried about what people are going to think. So sometimes that does get into my head, and I'm always focusing on that certain percent that are really focused in on my account. And sometimes if that other percent is not so much, then you can't please everyone, like you said. So
c'est la vie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. So because of your platform then and growing it, you mentioned collaborations. What have been, I know that this is a really tough question to ask because it's like, which of my babies do I choose? But of all the different collaborations, which ones stand out the most to you and why?
Oh my gosh.
It's a hard one. People ask me that for like 360 episodes. I'm like, I can't choose which guest is my favorite.
Because they're like so many.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have to come back to that.
Okay, that's totally fine.
I don't know.
That's fair.
I've done a lot of like flute quartets. I've collabed with other like really good flute content creators. I've collaborated with other like, brass players. Like we've done like Avengers themes. We've done like, Super Mario Bros. Recently I just posted a Sonic theme because of Sonic Week this week. So I don't know. It's a bit challenging because I've done so many collabs and they're all so fun and engaging. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. So then to piggyback off of that question, my next question is, which partnerships did you not foresee occurring in your career? Like partnering with Flute Center of New York, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just throwing out different partnerships, but have there been certain career doors that have opened for you that you never saw coming?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So there was some from Flute World that I did not ever see coming. Flute Center was one, and I am working for Flute Center as a content creator and just, bringing their resources to the flute community, like showing them what's out there and a bit of advertisement. If you use my code TWFL, you get a lot of free perks. But yeah, one of those main two are definitely like where I was not ever seeing coming, like these flute companies looking at me to represent their brand. Like I'm a good person, but like I'm very humble. But like to me, I was like, you're entrusting me to represent you. You know what I mean? Like that was wild to me that, these different companies were reaching out, and I had to really like contemplate on if I would accept, because sometimes it's not always good sometimes, because when you get in, sometimes you can't get out. So you really had to contemplate on, all right, let me talk about the pros. Let me talk about the cons of these things, So I really had to think about things before I like accepted, and Flute Center is great. Yeah, there's a lot of, sense of community over there. And I really love doing the flute reviews and bringing all these products to my followers and viewers and really just showing them like what's out there. So yeah, those are like my main top two like opportunities and doors that have like opened for me.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So as you've been partnering with Flute World and Flute Center of New York, what is like one of the top lessons you've learned through the partnership? Like, obviously, I don't want you to spill the tea in areas that you're not allowed to. But when I go into corporate sponsorships with certain flute companies, I sit down with the marketing team. I sit down with the financial team. And it's like, whoa, like I'm sitting in these chairs with these people that I never thought possible. So I'm trying to put myself into your shoes when you're going into these different partnerships and signing contracts or, whatever your setup is. Have you been sitting in these teams with Flute World or Flute Center of New York or a different company, and you're learning X lesson from some person in the C-suite? And when I say C-suite, I'm talking about CEO, CFO, CTO, these people in the higher ups. Has there been a meeting or anything where you're just like, oh my gosh, pinch me. I can't believe I'm learning this lesson from said person?
Yeah. So it's really a fun thing to do. So I have not worked for Flute World. It was just that offer that like came to me before Flute Center, but I am working for Flute Center now. But we have not, like, because they're in New York and Chicago, like I can't like actually go to the building unless I like go for a certain reason. But like we've had like, Zoom meetings or like emails and stuff like that. So it's really fun because I get to learn the business side of things. I'm really like learning like, okay, this is a real deal. Like I'm learning how to run something. On my side of like social media, I think I'm really good with marketing some kind of sort, but like being on that side, like they're really doing marketing.
Yeah.
And like it makes me like want to change my major or something. Like I want to, like turn into a BA and then get like, like another like kind of small degree along with as my a music, like a music business degree or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it makes me like be so honored to be in a room full of like amazing people who really know what they're doing. Like I even met the flute technicians, and like it makes me want to go into flute repair. Like, what am I doing with my life? Like like they're over there, they're going so fast, and I'm just like, these are some amazing people, and I'm just like so glad to be immersed in this group. Also, I've learned in the process, of doing these flute reviews, like I'm trying all of these flutes. So as I am making the flute reviews, I'm also trying the flutes for myself to see what I like. So that's also a good perk of collaborating with the Flute Center, and also having that code is that I get to make these reviews and play these different flutes. It could be silver flutes, gold flutes, different flutes people may have not seen, like the flutes with the engravings or like the Dryad's Touch. It's stuff like that. So yeah, definitely like being in that room with all of them, like learning the business side of things and like really trying to touch that audience. And it's really helped my marketing because like my audience is like, it's in like aspiring flutists that are just starting out and they really want to know more about, the music industry and the flute industry. And I feel like I can bring that to like what I learned from them. I can bring that to my followers. And I think that since I've gained more like followers of this, it's like really helped me in the long run. So I think, yeah, definitely like being there and learning from them on the business side and the marketing side has definitely applied to my techniques and my journey on social media. So it's a lot of learning things that I have gone through with social media and these different, opportunities that I've had. And I'm just thankful that, I am doing something that I love because not a lot of people can say that,
Yeah.
So yeah, this has definitely been a ride. So yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel when I sit with these people too. I tell Eric all the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to go out east and I want to build a flute. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, also like a part of me is like, it's kind of funny because like my family, they see me, oh, he's Tyree, like he's just Tyree. But like when I was at NFA this year, 100 people were like hoarding me. I mean, it wasn't like it was bad. It was just like, they're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's Tyree, it's Tyree. Oh my God, oh my God. Can we get a picture? And I'm like, who are like, I was like, am I actually like famous or something? But like, it doesn't hit you until it hits you that you inspire that next generation. And I don't know, it's just like, when I sit in this room of, CEO members and board members and people that are really like in this world, like famous people, it's just like, I actually belong here, and it's like, I don't want to go into a room where it's like, I don't feel like I belong. And when I was like in Flute Center, it felt like I belonged, it's like, it's that kind of flute community, that flute structure. And it's just a whole different world that I did not know when I was in like high school. And like, I look back over my life now, it's like, that Tyree would not believe where he is at now,
Yeah.
So it's just like, I can't, it's just crazy how my life has changed. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And what I hear, because so much of what you said resonates with me, is I love seeing these different people in different departments and how their mind works and how their mind ticks. And we have all of these amazing strengths in different capacities. And what I see as your new flute friend is you are being right now, and you already are probably aware of this, but not just flute wise with technique and tone, you're being molded, but you're being molded into this young man in terms of getting snippets and getting a taste of business, marketing, repair.
Like everything.
How cool is that?
Everything. Like I would have never thought, like, imagine how much money I'm going to save on my own flute repair. Like,
yeah. But I'm just thinking of the possibilities now moving into the next 5, 10, 15 years of Tyree's career.
You never know where I'm going to land. And I have always used that because I never thought I would be on social media and inspiring other flute players. Like, what is that? You know, like I never thought you could make a career out of this. Yeah. But you can do anything if you set your mind to it. Like, it's such a power. Like, I can't describe it. It's just changed my life. Like, it's crazy.
So I can see, kind of foreshadowing just a little bit, because you're being exposed to these different areas, departments, people, etc. I can foresee you being CEO of some sort of flute shop and having this like international playing career.
Speak it into existence. Speak it. Claim it.
I love it.
That would be awesome. You know, my dad, I meant to say this when I was introducing myself, but my family is musically inclined. My mom is like one of 8 children, and they all grew up in the church. They even have their own group called Family with 2 E's instead of a Y. But they traveled around the world singing. My dad played the piano and organ. He also plays the drums and the bass guitar. My brother plays the drums. My entire family knows how to sing. So like music was always in my life. And growing up, you know, I really didn't do anything. I did like football, peewee, you know, like it wasn't interesting to me, but my mom was like, you should give music a try. And I'm like, I don't know. But she always told me that she had this dream that my name would be everywhere. And I was like 13 at the time. And my mom, this is what she told me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm 13. I want to play my Wii, my Nintendo. And I'm just like, what is she talking about? But now it's like, oh my gosh, she was right. Like, she spoke it into existence. Your name is going to be everywhere. I see you going places where you never thought you'd be. Like, and it's just, I don't know, it's like crazy how I've gone to these different places and just because of social media. And it's just, it's humbling, and it's just, I'm always being appreciative of what I have been given and what I have achieved so far. I never take it for granted. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm trying not to like cry over here.
You cry all you want.
No, I have to uphold Tyree with the flute.
Oh, that's so sweet. Let me flip it just a little bit, just for funsies, because I like to see both sides of the coin. So not to be a Debbie Downer, but what is one drawback from being on social media as much as you are?
Are you saying like how I've been on social media, or?
Take me, for example. I love being on social media. I love building community. I love people. But because I'm such a social butterfly, I find myself having a hard time detaching and really figuring out like, oh, when I go into social media for work purposes versus like my own personal pleasure and removing myself, I have a hard time with detachment.
I do have a hard time because I've done it for so long. It's just, I feel so attached to keep creating and just keep being on social media. Like, for some reason, I have like some type of time management with social media. Like, I cannot be on social media. And like, sometimes I have to like delete the app because I'm so attached to it. And I just feel like I've done it for so long and I have to keep pushing out content because I keep, like when I first started it and I got all these followers and got all these likes, I was like, oh my gosh, I have to keep doing it. I have to keep doing it. I have to keep producing. And I'm just like, now it's just getting to the point where it's getting like addictive and I can't tone away from it. Okay. So I have like always put my phone on do not disturb, like don't keep refreshing the pages, delete the app, do something, like go out and walk, go with nature, like, you know, and over time it's gotten better. But like there are some times where I'm like, why am I not getting likes? Why am I not, you know, getting the engagement that I want? And it's it's been really addicting, and I've always like tried to really get away from it, but sometimes it's very hard because once you do it for a long time and this is your life, like it's like you can't get away from it. So there are definitely times where I'm just like, it's very hard to turn away from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you foresee yourself starting to do Instagram lives? Like, is that in the near future, or you're just going to stick to TikTok?
I think so, but I think for now, I think I'm going to just stick with TikTok. I just don't know. It's just like, I think for my mindset, I've just always found Instagram to be more of a serious type of platform for some reason. I don't know like what it is, but TikTok just seems like more of, I can chill, I can like lay back, like people, you know, like it's more of a sense of just have fun, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. I love that. So as we're wrapping up, is there any piece of advice that you would give this modern day flutist who's considering to think about branding? You've said branding at least 2 or 3 times, which is really smart. So actually, let me put a pin in my last question and ask another question. Yeah. My ADHD brain just went down another rabbit hole.
I have ADHD too.
You're like, oh yeah.
So many things happening at once.
Exactly. So when you said branding, if you could, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what would your elevator pitch be if you had to describe Tyree Wilson's brand? Who are you? What do you stand for? And what is your brand all about?
Oh my gosh. Definitely the collaboration side of process.
Okay.
Trying to reach my local community and share my music worldwide. Okay. And I think those main 3 things have always stood out for my brand, because I think now, like, people always see me as, oh my gosh, he's the content king or something like that. Yeah. He's a great collaborator. He's a great colleague. He's a great friend. Like, I don't think you could ask anyone like you could talk to that would be like, he's not great to work with. Like, I have like always been kind to everyone that I meet. So I think those main 3 things for my social media would always like go a long way in the long run. Like, people would always talk about those main 3 points.
Okay. So you've said community quite a bit in this conversation too. Yeah. So when you say community, obviously you are creating content for your people and for people who have not maybe found you yet. What's important to you in terms of community? Is it like making an impact in their life in some specific certain way? Or is it the relationships? Like, can you elaborate a little bit more on like what's meaningful to you in terms of community?
My main goal of this is it is the sense of community as well, but also for people that may not, you know, will like look like me, for example. Like, I want them to know that, hey, like, we can do this too, kind of, sort of. So it's kind of that more of inspiring, you know, people of color or people, you know, that are in this field and they don't feel like they are doing like the right things, you know. I think it's my job as my platform to show them like we are all the same, like we can all do this. And I feel like that has always worked out, because even in my like DMs, I'm always getting like questions like, or in just inspiring like messages like, thank you so much for doing this. Like, this has really helped me in my practice. This has really helped me continue music because I see you doing this. And they feel like, oh, I can do this because he's always doing this, or he's doing this because, you know, he's a male flutist. He's, you know, there's other aspects to this. And I think people look for that. They want to be inspired or see someone that looks like them that are doing their field. So I feel like it's definitely the community side of things, and also just inspiring that next generation as well.
Boom. Yes. Yeah. We're going to leave it on that note, because you could not have said that any better. Oh,
thank you.
So forget my last question. I'm going to make that my last question.
Okay. Well, I have like, this has been great. Like, I'm also getting ready for my junior recital next spring. So I was just practicing before we got on this. And I just made a reel about when you're practicing the same passage like over and over for 2 hours and it somehow gets worse. And people were like, oh my gosh, so relatable. Hang in there. I am getting ready for my junior recital next semester. So this is definitely, like I said, decompressed, like all of that music that I'm learning. And I'm really like sitting down and like talking with you and like just making that next connection. So yeah, this has really been fun. And I know we've only like met like in person like once or twice, but I feel like I've known you forever, you know, like you said, like you were like my flute sister kind of sort of. So yeah, this has definitely been fun. And thank you for having me on this Flute 360 podcast. And who's ever watching, you know, keep going. I will say, I did want to mention that one of my life lessons that I've learned is that, you know, in your practice process, it is okay that it's always not like linear. Like we always have setbacks. Just keep going and trust the process because it does get better. So I just wanted to say that before you like hopped off. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's a great sentiment. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah. I promise you, it does get better. If you're feeling like, you know, it's not right, just keep going. Every day gets better. So yeah, just trust the process.
Wonderfully said. I completely agree. Yeah. Well, Tyree, thank you so much for your time, energy, and expertise.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I love getting to know you better. And I just wish nothing but the best for you. And I just pray that you have a life filled with tons of blessings. And as you are thinking about your next step in your career, whether it's graduate school, something else.
Oh yeah, graduate school.
That's a whole nother episode.
I am not ready to go back in that process of having those college auditions again. I was like, that was a time where I was like, oh my gosh, am I really doing this? Like, I'm not ready to go back to that mindset, but I know it has to happen at some point. So yeah.
If it's any consolation to you, I found that the graduate auditions for MM and DMA were more fun than undergraduate auditions.
Yeah.
Because then you get to go in and you're also possibly being interviewed for their TA position if the school has one.
Yeah.
So then you get to know that flute professor even more on a deeper level because they're kind of picking your brain in a loving way in that audition. Not only are they hearing you play, but they're talking to you and getting to know you a little bit better. And so it's like, oh, I get to sit down and be cozy and get to know, you know, this soon to be professor that I may or may not work with. And on a very personal level, it doesn't feel like, you know, not that undergraduate auditions are this way, but flute X, you know, in and out, flute Y, in and out. But you get to sit down and take up some space and time.
So I'm definitely going to keep, you know, thinking about the graduate auditions and, you know, different performance opportunities and stuff like that. So I know it's going to be a difficult time, but, you know, I've made it this far and I can keep going. So
one day at a time. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, you have a fantastic winter break. And take a load off and eat lots of food.
To all of you guys.
Oh, thank you, hon. Merry Christmas to you too and to your family.
Yeah.
All right, hon. We'll talk soon. And thank you so much for being here.
All right. See you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Before you go, let me ask you this. Are you feeling stuck or uninspired in your flute journey? Maybe you're not sure what comes next or how to get where you want to be. You're not alone. Many flutists have felt the same way, isolated or unsure of their next steps. But here's what they've found. The Flute 360's Accelerator program is where transformation happens. It's the perfect space to connect, share ideas, and reignite your passion. Join us on Saturday, December 28th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time for performance feedback, creative solutions, and a community ready to support you. Ready to move forward? Click the link in the show notes below to save your seat. Until next time, keep playing, keep growing, and remember, you've got this. Let's talk about flute.